Drew Barrymore was only 7 years old when she became a movie star in E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
What are you going as, Gert?
I'm going as a cowgirl.
The Barrymores in the 30s and the 40s were the most prominent acting family in Hollywood.
They were all famous people of the theater, and they were respected, and they were talented, and, and they drank.
I know adults who've met you who say that, you've never been 8. That, you always hung out with adults, talked to adults, and really had a lot of adult friends. Part of the problem sounds like that you grew up too soon.
At first, I really didn't know the difference. I was like 6 years old, hanging out with a bunch of 25-year-olds. Mm-hmm. I liked being around older people. I felt like I could relate to them better.
Why?
Just because they were more experienced. I didn't want to go off and play Barbies. I wanted to go out to a club and dance.
Also, adults, when she worked, were very accepting of her.
Right.
They were never critical. And when she would come back to school and try to assimilate and just try to be like all the other kids, there was a group of kids that would really stick it to her. Very resentful, tell her she was fat, she was a cow, she was ugly. I mean, this was day after day after day after day.
And after 6 hours, 5 days a week of getting nonstop, put downs, I didn't want to come home and discuss more of it, Mm-hmm. I just wanted to try and forget about it.
So you started drinking at 9?
Mm-hmm.
To prove a point, or to feel good, or to get drunk, or what?
Well, I didn't really know. I mean, when I was 8, I had 2 glasses of champagne. And boom, I was like tipsy and,
mm-hmm.
Bubbly and the life of the party. And I felt so good. All my problem had seemed, to disappear for that hour that I was out of it. And I didn't realize that until I was 9 and I started casually drinking. And realized,
where would you get alcohol from at 9?
Oh, parties, friends, bars, clubs.
What were you doing at bars at 9?
A lot of the time it was for parties that I was invited to. A lot of the time I would walk up and they would be like, oh, it's little Drew Barrymore. Come right in, good publicity, And
where were you when she was going to parties and bars at 9?
I was never with her at bars at 9, but I would go with her to parties. There were a lot of industry functions and then private social/business functions. And when we got there, we would stay together for time. Then she would go her way and I would go my way. And not knowing about the problem, I was not as scrutinizing as I should have been.
You just decided to just let her have some space?
Yes.
9 or 10, that's exactly the age where you need some guidance, some definition,
definitely.
You don't need a parent to back off and give you space at 9 or 10, especially if you were where Drew was at that time.
Part of it was the fact that I didn't have a dad. I felt like my mom was abandoning me because she was always off at work.
Do you know now how you got to be so confused? I mean, how does a person born who looks like you do, who comes from the kind of ancestry that you come from, the kind of family, and is friends with Spielberg and E.T., how do you get to be so depressed? How does that happen?
Well,
how could you not look in the mirror and think you were beautiful? How could you not think, gee, this is a wonderful life and I'm going to do everything to protect it?
I never looked in the mirror and thought I was beautiful. I always had the lowest self-esteem of anybody I knew. And
so you'd look in the mirror and think what?
That I was overweight, that I had a round face, my eyes weren't good enough, my hair wasn't good enough, my legs were too short, my waist was too big, my feet were too big, my teeth weren't straight enough. I mean, just every little detail wasn't right.
Are you at a point in your life now where you can accept that this is who you are? Because I went through this, and it took me a long time to get to the point where I could really just accept that I don't have that. That is not what I have. This is what I have, and I'm going to have to work with this. Are you there yet?
Yeah, I'm there. It's scary, because I want to stay sober so bad, and there is a possibility that I could slip again. But I feel so confident right now in the fact that I do want to stay sober, that I think that I feel that I have a really good chance at achieving sobriety for, you know, hopefully eternity.